Game number 5 last night in the Eastern Conference Finals on the ice in the Stanley Cup postseason. Game number 5 in the Western Conference Finals tonight in Dallas between the Stars and the Oilers. For everything you need to know on the ice this weekend, Anna Dua joins us live right here on this Friday on the early line, of course, working on behalf of the NHL. Anna has been going strong for the NHL, doing live action throughout the conference finals round. So, Anna, we really do appreciate you waking up bright and early on this Friday to join us here on SportsGrid.
Of course, anything for you guys.
We are getting ready for Game 5 tonight in Dallas, but we look back first on Game number 5 last night inside Madison Square Garden. The Rangers scored first, but then the Panthers pounced. 3 unanswered goals to take a 3-1 lead. The Rangers do add one at the end, but it's a 3-2 victory for Florida and a 3-2 series advantage for the Panthers as well. One win away from their second consecutive appearance in a Stanley Cup final. How did Florida change the tune last night, Anna, inside Madison Square Garden?
I don't think they necessarily changed the tune. I think they've been playing this way pretty much this entire series. Florida's been a very dominant squad. Igor Shesterkin for the New York Rangers, in my opinion, has just been lights out this entire postseason, specifically in this series. And you could see them starting to get under his skin a little bit. They spent a lot of time right up there in his crease, maybe frustrating him just a tad. But the Florida Panthers are a very good hockey team. This has been a very closely contested series either way. So it's not something that's shocking to me that they were able to pull out the win in that one.
It's been incredibly close all the way through. You take a look at game number 2, overtime, 2-1. Game number 3, overtime, 5-4. Game number 4, 3-2 overtime. And we just saw last night 3-2. And some might say the outlier is game number 1, 3-0. If you remember that game, this was 1-0 right up until the final few moments where the Rangers had an own goal and then an empty netter here. So theoretically, we're probably looking at 1 goal differences each and every time. So if we look forward to the series moving to game 6 and possibly game number 7, we're probably looking at close games in both of them if we need both of them, Anna.
Yeah, 100%. Avoid the puck line for the favorites in this series, guys. And for the other one as well, too. These are 2 very closely contested conference finals. Both teams are going back and forth. It really could have gone either way. Hearing you say all those overtimes, working every single one of those games, I am very well aware of how many of these games have gone to overtime. So it's crazy, but it's good to watch. We have truly 4 of the best teams in the NHL left in this Stanley Cup playoffs hunt. So it's great hockey all around.
Anna, is the overtime calzone still a thing? That was a thing last postseason, 2 playoffs ago?
It is, yeah. They went all out this time. They ordered me I want to say 30 different calzones the last time we had an overtime. So our production team is awesome over at the NHL. Terrible for my diet because I think I've worked 3 games that didn't go to overtime throughout the entire conference finals. But it seems like that's the direction they're headed pretty much every single night. But I like to see it. We don't like to see blowouts this late in the year. That's no fun.
Could we see some more calzones? That might be the question. And as we focus quickly on Game 6, I mean, maybe. Could happen. Just saying, a lot of overtime games so far. As we go quickly to Game 6, tomorrow night on a Saturday in Sunrise, the Panthers a -170 home money line favorite. Anna, what happens tomorrow? Is Florida back in the Cup final, or might we see a Game 7 back inside Madison Square Garden?
It's really tough. I think it could go either way. I don't love how I'm feeling about the Rangers with Florida taking a series lead. This is the first time New York will be facing elimination this entire postseason. They've never had that threat before. You wonder how they're going to perform with that kind of looming over their heads. And Florida's just one of those teams that's built really well to play against the New York Rangers. We didn't see that in the Carolina Hurricanes, who I thought were a phenomenal team, just not built to play against New York Rangers. The Rangers beat you in 5 minutes out of a 60-minute hockey game, and Florida is able to get under their skin for 60 whole minutes. So this is a toss-up. I would love for it to go 7. I think it could very easily go 7 and come back to the Garden, but if I had to choose right now, I think Florida, carrying the momentum they have from this one, the odds are definitely in their favor for Game 6 as well.
Great hockey here, Anna, in the Eastern Conference. And certainly no surprise in the Western Conference either. We got Friday night hockey tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Puck drop there in Dallas for this closely contested series. And we're taking a look at some of these odds. Only a -130 price here for the home team, the Dallas Stars. A total that's listed at 5.5. Do we get to see some goals tonight? Could this game stay under? And also, more importantly, Anna, who's going to win this game between Edmonton and Dallas?
I think if we hit the over, then Dallas is going to win. I'm not going to lie to you. A big factor of Edmonton being able to be where they are in the series is Stuart Skinner has done whatever he could do best to keep the Edmonton Oilers in the mix. And so I don't know how long that's going to last. Jake Ottinger definitely is the goalie with the individual higher ceiling in this contest, but Stuart Skinner, just giving him a shout out, he's really impressed me because with the Oilers, everyone talks about Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, but their depth players came up in the last game as well. So Edmonton, I was really stressed when Dallas took a 2-0 lead in that last game, but the way they were able to bounce back, honestly, that really impresses me. Chris Tanev, also the biggest question for me for the Dallas Stars. He's a huge piece that they will be missing on their back end. And if they don't have him in the lineup, like I'm liking the way Edmonton looks, but if he's able to suit up and play, like you never know. Like I think this is the series that's going 7 for sure.
Both games in Edmonton, we did see an over 8 goals combined in game 3, 7 goals in game number 4. So this is the series that is going 7. And if it reaches its duration with a 7th game, of course, in Dallas, who makes it to the Stanley Cup final?
That's a tough question. I mean, Dallas is not one of those teams that needs to win at home. Like they're phenomenal on the road. So I don't know if I just give them the home ice advantage straight up. I had Dallas initially in my predictions. I've had Dallas since the preseason making it to the Stanley Cup final. My biggest question is just the Chris Tanev factor of it all. Like I really don't think this late in the year, and he's not a player that I feel like a lot of people are focusing on, but he does a lot to help the Dallas Stars on their back end right there. And so if he's not playing, like I think Edmonton comes out of the series. Otherwise, like, oh, this is so tough. I want the Stanley Cup to come back to Canada, so I want to say Edmonton, but I still got to go with Dallas. I think they're the overall better team.
Getting those good price points here, particularly on Edmonton at a 3-1 price. If we look at the overall Stanley Cup odds right now, they move on a night-to-night basis. Yesterday, we're much closer here. The Rangers were under 4-1. With that loss, they now sit at a plus 750 price. And again, Edmonton plus 300. You take a look at the Dallas Stars plus 240. And then the favorites now, the Panthers at a plus 135 price. Looking at these price points here, Anna, who do you think wins the Stanley Cup?
I don't want to go with the favorite because it's no fun, but the Florida Panthers have just proven to be like such a dominant team throughout the entire playoffs, the regular season, the postseason, the way they're playing against the New York Rangers right now. They just look so good. If Dallas does deal with the injuries that they're dealing with and they advance, or Edmonton advances, like I don't think they have the goaltending prowess to kind of turn away the Florida Panthers and the way they play hockey right now. So I got to go with Florida, unfortunately. It's no fun because they're the favorites, but that's my answer.
Yeah. Listen, that's where things seem to be trending. Anadua, maybe a Panthers Game 6 victory in Sunrise. If we get to 7 in the Western Conference Finals, leaning despite the Canadian ties to Dallas in those hypothetical final matchup odds that are out, Dallas would be a very, and I mean very slight favorite in a Stanley Cup final series against the Florida Panthers. And any names to know at this stage of the postseason, here in the final 30 seconds of this segment, that could win the Conn Smythe Award that might be under the radar?
That's a good question. Like for Dallas, I think if Dallas makes it that far, Wyatt Johnston is your answer. I said that earlier too when Dallas was beginning their playoff push, that Wyatt Johnston's kind of like the breakout star for them. He's getting goals pretty much. Star. I just made a pun there. He's getting goals pretty much on a nightly basis for Dallas. So he's the guy who's sticking out to me right now. Jason Robertson could have another breakout series though. He had a hat trick. Like I wouldn't be shocked if he continues it and gets straight back into the mix. So one of those two guys for Florida. Sasha Barkov's the guy that's sticking out to me. He's been such a big part of this team and this playoff push. It could go a lot of different ways. It could go Sam Reinhart, he's getting goals in. Carter Verhage could break out and get a lot of goals in the Stanley Cup final. Like it's anyone's trophy to lose for those two teams. If the Rangers win, it's Igor Shesterkin. That's like the clear-cut answer. And for the Edmonton Oilers too, you could be Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, anyone. It's kind of up for grabs.